dears. This is the Ninth Dimensional Pleiadian Collective, and it is a pleasure and an honor to have the opportunity to connect with you all. So we're happy and grateful to have the opportunity to answer a couple of questions, and we'll throw in a few bits as we go, but where would you like to start?
What's your view on humanity? Why are you helping? What's your agenda? What would you like to see us accomplish through your help?
That's a big question.
We'll come in through Nora just for a minute so you can feel the difference here in the transmission. So we have the same collective of about 2,500 light beings transmitting as one. So we just want to explain who we are, where we come from, and then we'll answer your question more fully there. We align ourselves with the star Alcyon in the Pleiades star system and exist at a ninth dimensional vibration. So we are the ninth dimensional Pleiadian Collective. That's what you'll hear us, that's how you'll hear us refer to ourselves. There are other ninth dimensional Pleiadian collectives as well. There are many other Pleiadian beings at many different dimensional structures and frequencies and formats. So we are just one representative of the Pleiadian star system.
And some are physical, some are non-physical. You all get locked into this image of Pleiadians as being, you know, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. There are many species in the Pleiadian star system. It's very vast. And you are part of our history. You are seeded in part from the Pleiades. And we are, again, not from what you would perceive to be your timeline. We are of a different time. We would be what you would consider to be your future. But we are here to learn from you. You often see yourselves at the bottom, that you have this idea first off of karma, which is completely incorrect, by the way, that somehow you got to start at the bottom and work your way up as far as dimensional structure goes. And it is actually just the opposite. You are at the top. You are source energy, and you fracture from source and project yourselves into different dimensions. And you all right now are choosing to explore the 3D experience. Just because you're at the bottom doesn't mean that you are any less than any being that is in another dimension. Higher isn't better, it's just different. And so you are choosing at this time to play out a grand experiment. This was an opportunity for you all to be of service to the universal game. It was an opportunity to play out issues, galactic issues, on a small scale to see if you could go through the process of integration. You chose to be in this dimension, and it was set up to create the illusion of separation. While it is impossible for you ever to be separate, you thought, well, what if we thought we were? How would that change our choices? How would that change our experience of reality and our process of creation? And so you agreed to become part of this game. And now, the second stage of the game is to see how far you can go and come out of it and have a realization that you are, in fact, the divine. And through that process, you are learning compassion. And compassion is what you are teaching the higher dimensions. It's somewhat lacking in the higher realms, at a depth and at a richness that you experience in 3D. And so we collectively wanted to experience that in greater amplitude.
This is Yeshua. Greetings. We wanted to bring our energy as well to this experience and share with you our love and our connection. Our view of humanity is that you are all universal beings of love. All of you. There is not good. There is not bad. There is not right. There is not wrong. There is just love, projecting itself into form, which is all of you, playing out stories. And in the stories you play out right now, you need good, you need bad. You need left and right, you need right and wrong, etc., etc. So these are the stories that you are playing out. But you are all the same. You are all one. We, Yeshua, this particular group of beings calling themselves Yeshua exist at a 12th dimensional vibration. We sit in the 12th dimension. You might want to say that the Yeshua frequency, the Yeshua energy, is responsible for Earth and for this particular part of the galaxy. So you can extrapolate from there your stories about Jesus, and you can begin to understand a little bit how those Jesus myths were created when you factor in that there is a collective of beings that call themselves Yeshua. And we view you all as ours.
So what is your next question?
Give me a moment. Let me digest.
But while you're searching, let us say this, that we're grateful. The amount of gratitude we have for you and all that you're going through is tremendous. And we appreciate and understand the delicate nature of your work on Earth, the challenge of working with emotions in the way that you do. There is no other place in the entire universe that has the emotional range that you experience on this planet. And that is also part of what is so unique and vital that you bring to the game that we learn from you. Early on, we used to say that we were coming back to change something that we didn't like. And we phrased it that way with deliberate intent to shatter the image that you had that the higher dimensions were utopias. Frankly, that would be incredibly boring. And so they're not. There are still disagreements. There are still, in some levels, disputes. We're not necessarily blowing each other up over it. Sometimes in the fifth dimension that does happen. But as you get higher in dimensional range, the extremes aren't as extreme, and we're more aware of the collective aspect and the ramifications of individuated consciousness and collective consciousness decisions on the entire collective. So we tend not to go to that extreme. But, you are still teaching us because of this element of compassion. And as was discussed earlier through Nora, that, you are teaching us compassion. You are teaching and you are actually creating a brand new fifth dimension, one that does not exist right now. This is what you are all structuring. So as you start to think of the fifth dimensional range and what your previous fifth dimensional experiences have been like, the fifth dimension that you're going to create is going to be different because of the element of compassion that you're bringing in.
And this is going to have universal ramifications. So you can imagine as you drop a pebble in a pond and the ripples expand out. This is the experience you're having now on Earth. And many eyes are upon you. We're going to give you a little experience here right now of Yeshua and the Pleiadians braiding our energy together through Nora. So for those of you who are paying attention right now, you're going to notice a difference in the way that we speak. We'll separate ourselves out for you so you can really get it. This is Yeshua. And again, I send you my love as we witness your light. This is the 9th Dimensional Pleiadian Collective. Here we are, separate, so to speak, as we are many, transmitting our love and light to you as well. And this is Yeshua and the Pleiadians transmitting together. We are collaborating now as you integrate and reascend. We are collaborating together. And as you do what you do, you have so much help, love, and support from all over the universe. As your progress continues now and accelerates, many more across the universe are going to become aware of the game that has been ongoing on Earth. And we call it a game. It is a game. Remember, this is a game. You incarnated because this would be fun. and you are having, on so many levels, so much fun. Continue to have fun, to live from your hearts, to let go of the past and dismiss the future. Be in your now, fully expressed through your hearts. Ask for help, love, guidance when you need it, and we will be there.
Have you found your question? And by the way, for those of you who weren't aware, the fairies made their appearance. They were braided in with the energy. Kaliandra was present as well. So you will notice a shift in those energies again. And this happens all the time with all of you. This is what happens with you. Your guides will braid their energy with you. They support you. They guide you. They love you. You are never, ever separate. It is impossible for you to be separate. It is also impossible for you to be alone. In those most intimate moments when you think you're by yourself, you're not. And that, for some of you, can be a bit disconcerting. But know that you are always, always loved, cherished, and supported.
You know, we'll answer a question that hasn't been asked out loud, but many of you run this question, and the question you have is, how do I know this is true? How do I know this is real? How do I know that Nora and Wendy are actually bringing through beings of a higher frequency state? Well, the only one who can answer that question for you is you. And the way you answer that question is by staying present, staying aligned with your body as you receive the information, the love, and the energy. The way you discern your truth is by discerning your truth. We always like to say, take the pieces that resonate with you and leave the rest behind. But be open to understanding that what you may decide to leave behind today suddenly becomes your truth tomorrow. And the only way for you to know what your truth will be tomorrow is for you to visit that moment when you're in that moment and run the energy through your body. Your bodies will always tell you the truth. Your bodies will always tell you the truth.
So what does that mean for those of you who aren't so in tune with your body? You may have chills, you may have goosebumps, you may have a sense of peace, a sense of centeredness, a sense of knowing, claircognizance, that this is truth. What happens often is that you move out of the heart center where you have that experience and into the mind, where the mind begins to question and pull everything apart, and then it gets difficult to feel that because the focus is no longer on the body or on how you're feeling, but rather the mental component of it. So you've got to check in with yourself. Your truth may be vastly different than the truth of the person standing next to you. And you know what? That is all right. You are not obliged to have an identical truth. And your truth is not threatened because they are holding a different viewpoint. Your truth is simply that. It is yours. And it is valid because it is yours. As theirs is valid because it is theirs. There is no competition here. And that is one of the big issues that you're working on your planet right now.
Can you elaborate on truth and the experience, how that can differ from one person to another, having different truths? Is their reality experience the same? How does it relate to it being a co-creation?
We will say that there are as many versions of truth and reality as there are beings to interpret truth and reality, right? Take a breath on that and really begin to understand that none of you experience the color blue in exactly the same way. It's very important for you all to get this because many of you run with the assumption that what you are seeing, everyone else in the room is seeing as well. And you can't wrap your minds around the fact that that is not true. That each of you are having your own individual experience that you then bring back to the collective experience that then in turn affects the collective. All right? So it is not the collective makes the decisions and then the individual has the experience. It is the individual makes the decision through interpreting their own version of truth, and then the individual impacts the collective. You've been running it the other way, all of you on this planet. You all believe you are bound to certain truths and beliefs defined for you by the collective. And you feel limited by collective understanding, or what you call mass consciousness. Well, the truth is you're all creating mass consciousness, each of you individually. So as each of you individually begin to shift your own truth, begin to awaken, take more light through your bodies, you impact the collective. Suddenly, what appeared to be dark is now light.
And also you're changing your understanding of how to operate as an individuated consciousness that is separate to that of an individuated consciousness that is part of a collective. And understanding the interconnectedness, how your frequency and choice of frequency then gets sent out, and understanding your holographic nature. There are hours of conversation that we could have and have had on the nature of time as an illusion, because you have to understand that time is an illusion. It is a series of now moments that you string together, and each now moment is based upon an individual assumption of your past circumstances and a collective agreed upon set of circumstances. And you can put yourself anywhere based on that frequency. And this is the difference between creating in a 3D and a 5D fashion. And so, as we said, we've talked quite a bit about this. But you can't talk about truth and perspective unless you understand that component, that each now moment is based upon an agreed upon set of circumstances, and it is about frequency alignment. And you, as you shift your programs that happen in the mental body, as you move those energetic programs that are in the emotional body, you change your overall frequency. And when you do that, you align with another now moment. That's kind of the simplified version.
I'm curious about the nature of existence for, say, the Pleiadians and the Yeshua Collective. I'd say, I'd ask if you could describe a day in the life, but the way time works, I don't think that's possible. How can you...
So what is it you really want to know? Because, yes, it's you're going to have to narrow it just a bit.
Can you relate that sort of existence or that experience to someone like me in my existence to better understand how that works?
Imagine a piece of music that goes on and on and on. All right? There is no beginning. There is no end. Now imagine as that music continues to unfold, there are pictures and images, right? Light. It's something you can feel as we share it with you. It is not something yet you can truly visualize, because you cannot visualize a ninth dimensional reality, all right? But as that music, as that energy goes on and on, imagine, if you will, other instruments join in, some step away, all right? And again, there is no beginning, there is no end, there is just an unfolding of experience. Now, this truly is your reality as well, right? It's just very narrowed down to what appears to be at least clearly physical experience. Imagine yourself now in that kind of experience with no body, yet a sense of yourself collaborating with many other consciousnesses around you. And you begin to have a sense of the ninth dimensional Pleiadian perspective.
Now, as you think about that, also imagine that when you hear this music, your attention goes to the cello, or it goes to the violin, or it goes to the percussion section. For you as a 3D being, you think of it going to one at a time. For us, we can split our focus and experience all three of those things in the same moment. we can put our awareness on all of those things at once, which is vastly different than how you are experiencing reality, but is what you are going to be moving into here very shortly. Is the ability to split your focus and have two whole and complete experiences the way that you experience reality right now at the same time. To preview, to kind of rewind to that piece of music if you want to go back and hear a piece again, or if you want to skip a section and go ahead and move on, we can do that as well, because time doesn't exist for us. Think of time as a marker for an event. We often describe it as being like the Dewey Decimal System of your libraries. It tells us where to find that record, that experience. That's it. That's all time is.
Thank you. It's very helpful. I suppose we can wrap things up. Are there any key points that you, all of you, would like us to remember? Anything of importance that will help us create and have the reality that we want?
This is Nora. Remember that all around you is also a reflection of yourself. As you really come to understand that truth, and use your bodies to see how that truth sits with you right now, but as you come to understand that truth, that all around you are reflecting you back at you, suddenly there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no good, there is no bad. There really is just love, expressing itself in many different forms on the planet. And as you come into alignment with those reflections and begin to express love in the direction of the reflection, you then express love to every aspect of yourself in any moment, in any time that needs love. And as that occurs, you become whole. As you become whole, you affect the collective. You begin to transmit as a whole being out to the collective, and the collective begins to feel whole again as well. This is an amazing time to be on this planet. Remember, all of you, you chose to be here right now, and when you signed up for this journey, you were incredibly excited to be able to be a part of it.
Let us say this, you're holographic in nature. So what happens at the microcosmic level happens at the macrocosmic level. So as you work on yourselves and make change within yourself, that is then projected outwardly. You put into the collective records how to go through the process of integration, how you are altering frequency and signature. The only way you can create change is by going within and through connection. And one of the other things that we would say here, that as you go through the ascension process, many say, how do I do it? We say it's very simple. The mechanics of it are not complicated. This is about being connected to your body, being grounded in your body, and being present in the moment. If you do that, everything else will take care of itself. Because if you're connected with the body, you're going to know how you feel about something, how it resonates with you. And if you're present, then you're in your heart center. You're in that new operating system that you got to run for 5D existence. Because if you're worried about the future or you're thinking about the past, you are siphoning off your energy and putting it on a timeline in which your physical body is not experiencing. So it's like wasting energy. And that is a mental process. If you're projecting to the future or the past, it's because of a fear, which means you are in the victim-perpetrator mindset. You're in the victim-perpetrator operating system. But if you're present, you are in the heart center. So if you're grounded in the body and present in the moment, absolutely everything else will take care of itself. You all have enough to deal with the emotional range of this planet, that the mechanics of ascension were left simple for the game. Because that's the easy part. Your belief in it, the ability to let go and to trust, to release issues around security, abandonment, control, manipulation. The process of you choosing a new vibration was more challenging, but the mechanics are simple. And have fun. All of you ask all the time, what am I here to do? And we would say, simply put, is to have more joy and to be of service. And if you put your focus and energy there, all the rest will also align divinely. Thank you for your time today. We send much love and great appreciation.
Thank you.